Hi. So thank you so much for coming on with us today. I'm super, super excited to have you. This is Leighton, and she is the owner of Kubeba. So I would love for you to just start off by telling me about your story, how you were diagnosed with your allergens, and what it's like to live with them today.
Sounds good. Yes, so I am allergic to almonds and peanuts, and then I also have EOE, which is eosinophilic esophagitis,
Okay.
and where allergens kind of build up on or white blood cell allergens kind of build up on your esophagus. And
Okay.
so the recommendation for that is to limit or avoid, I limit gluten and dairy. Um, I was diagnosed with my peanut allergy when I was 17, so actually pretty late in life,
Yeah.
and never have had a true allergic response. I was in high school, I was playing soccer in super good shape, and I've always had asthma my whole life, but there was just no amount of inhaler that could help me. And so I got some more testing done, and that's when I had my first scope of my esophagus, where they looked and found that all these allergens were building up on my esophagus. And so then they skin tested me and realized that peanuts flared up.
Wow.
So I got diagnosed with EOE and a peanut allergy at the same time and have been avoiding peanuts ever since. And then when I moved to Colorado, I don't know, I guess I had transitioned to like almond butter, almond milk, things like that. And just started to notice a little bit more wheezing and things like that. So got retested and found that I had an almond allergy. None of the other tree nuts have flared up, but I just typically don't eat nuts.
Yeah.
And then the reason I wanted to start Kubeba was because living in Colorado, we are hiking and skiing and doing outdoor activities all the time where
Right.
you need something easy and quick to throw in your backpack. And I just kind of noticed that there wasn't like anything good for people who are allergic to nuts. They were either high in sugar, low in protein, didn't taste good. There just wasn't a good option.
Yeah.
So I reached out to my two business partners, and they have a background in health and wellness, and said, I want to create a protein bar that's low in sugar, high in protein, and manufactured in a nut-free facility. And my partners also, they don't have allergies, but they have some food intolerances.
Got it.
And so per their dietary preferences, when formulating the recipes, Emily, one of the founders, left out the other top 8 allergens. And then we realized there's a whole world of people out there that can't eat one or more of these foods for whatever reason, whether it's intolerance, allergy, acne, thyroid issues. So we kind of pivoted from being a nut-free company to a top 8 free company.
That's awesome. What are the nutrition facts of your bars? Because I'm a health coach, so I have like tons of
Nice.
clients that are like vegan, and they're like, I just can't find a good protein bar. So
Yeah, so we are actually certified vegan and certified kosher.
awesome.
One of our main goals was low sugar. So
Okay.
we have between 4 to 5 grams of all natural sugar in our bars. There's no artificial or added sugar. And then 12 to 13 grams of protein.
Cool.
And I'm trying to think what else I just drew up, right? About 210 calories.
Okay, awesome. Very cool. So can you talk to me about how your company started?
Yeah, so we actually launched in May, so smack dab in the middle of the pandemic.
Awesome.
One of our big things we wanted to do for our customers was produce in an allergy-friendly facility,
Yeah.
which provided an extra challenge for us, but we can safely provide these foods to customers with severe anaphylaxis,
Yeah.
and say, there's very, very, very minimal risk of cross-contamination. So we launched in May, and one of our biggest challenges is not being able to do a lot of in-person sampling. So we've just had to do a lot of word of mouth and offer a pretty good price on our variety pack so that people are encouraged to try us. So one of the best things about serving this community is knowing how much they actually need this product. There are so many people out there with food allergies that are so limited in what they can eat. And these days, allergy-friendly world has grown. Like there are a ton of products out there for allergy-friendly cookies, allergy friendly bread, things like that. But there's not a lot of healthy options.
Right.
And one of the most rewarding things is honestly like getting people's feedback. I had a girl who has about 12 allergies told me she's never eaten a protein bar in her life. We were the first one.
Oh my God.
And so just stories like that of people being like, wow, I have been so limited my whole life, and you guys have provided something that I feel comfortable eating every single time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's really important because, like you said, there's a lot of protein bars out there that have like one or two of the allergens, but I really haven't seen any that has like all top eight. And like, you would be so surprised by like how many people have multiple allergens. And so it's like, okay, if this protein bar is gluten free but not dairy free, like, you know, half of the people can't have it. And so it's really cool that you guys are doing all of the allergens.
To that point, so there are over 160 foods that cause a reaction, and the top 8 account for 90% of them. And so if you're allergic to one of the top 8, you're more likely to be allergic to like others in that top 8 category.
Yeah, and then just to touch on the point that you said about like the healthy options, I think that there's a really great point to that because as a gluten-free health coach myself, one of the things that I preach to my clients is that, you know, we have to buy products that aren't just certified gluten-free, because a lot of the like unhealthier products are certified gluten-free, and not so much like things that you're creating, like, you know, like protein bars and things that are actually good for us. And so like to have a company that is like for sure gluten free and in a dedicated facility that is not like chicken nuggets, that's super important because it allows you to, you know, have those healthier options in your diet, that you feel super comfortable and safe eating.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's sometimes a misconception that like gluten-free or being vegan is always healthier, and it's not, because a lot of times gluten-free substitutes have more calories like that. So I think it is important to offer this population healthier options as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So I would love to dive into what it's like for you to eat out, or anybody that you know in your network, what it's been like to eat out with your food allergies.
So the main ones I focus on are peanuts and almonds. Gluten and dairy, I can have cross contamination there because I'm not truly allergic.
Right.
Um, I would say Colorado is amazing with food allergies. I feel like most of the servers and stuff are very well educated. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, and when I go back south, it is a totally different experience. The menus aren't labeled. No one's really willing to go to the back and like ask if something has something in it. I used to live in Birmingham, and I just like, this incident really sticks out to me. I was at a Thai restaurant, which is mostly peanut recipes.
Right.
And I asked if what I was ordering had peanuts in it. And since I've never had anaphylaxis, like I can eat things that have been in the same kitchen. And the waitress she was like, oh no, I don't think so. And then I got my order, and it was like doused in a peanut sauce. And she didn't even go to the back to ask her chef. And that's just a lawsuit waiting to happen I didn't do anything, but it's just a lawsuit waiting to happen for a restaurant who doesn't have educated staff or isn't willing to like take the extra step to go ask the chef what the ingredients are. So that's one incident that really stuck out to me. I think for the most part, like I said, Colorado is pretty well educated, and does a good job. I always let waiters and waitresses know like peanut and almond allergy. And usually they'll come out with like either a flag or, I went to somewhere where where was it? It was Uchi in Denver. And every single appetizer they presented or meal they presented, they're like, and this one is peanut and almond free. And this, every single thing. It wasn't just like a blanket statement. So it made me feel really safe about eating their food.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with like peanuts and almonds, especially since so many children are anaphylaxis to that, it is taken a little bit more seriously, which is good. I'm like super happy to hear that you've had a positive experience with that. Personally, from going to restaurants, I haven't seen a lot of things like labeled on the menu for nuts. It's more like gluten-free and vegan things. So what has your experience been like with like choosing options and like not having like a menu that actually labels it?
So I would say most people ask up front and make my allergies known up front. I did go to a restaurant where they asked about your allergies ahead of time. They printed out a separate menu for what you were allowed to have and not have, which was super. I mean, like I love when restaurants have separate menus, like a gluten-free menu or something, just because it makes it so much easier. One thing I will say is when avoiding dairy, I have to be careful that the dairy alternatives, like dairy cheese, dairy-free cheese and stuff, aren't made with cashews or things like that.
Right. Yeah, because there's definitely a lot of crossover there. What would you say your biggest struggle was with being taken seriously with your allergies?
I think it's just like a lack of willingness to go the extra step. So, like, if you ask and they're like, oh, I don't think so, and you're like, you need to go the back and like assure me that this doesn't have it. So I think that is like the one thing that I think, should be emphasized with restaurants is like it takes 2 seconds, and I know they're super busy,
Yeah.
but it could really fix a lot of problems um, in the long run. And so just like willingness to educate, and I think too with restaurants, like the more educated waiters and chefs and things are up front, even before a customer asks, can be helpful. So that way, if someone's ordering something, they say, oh, we already know that that's peanut free.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love that. And so diving into the resources that we're trying to create, we are trying to create allergy menus for all local restaurants. So really specifying like what you need to take off, if you need to make any modifications, and then giving like really detailed information on cross contact practices. So like what you should be aware of in like where things are located in the kitchen, specifically for all the top 8 allergens. So, how do you think having those types of resources would change your eating out experience?
I think that's like huge. I think if people can be assured that, this is where all the gluten stuff is cooked, for people with severe life-threatening allergies, that's life or death for them. Just a drop of dairy, a drop of a peanut crumb can be life or death for them. So I think having like more resources, and I know like the allergy community, there's a lot of people that are terrified to eat out because they don't know. And so if it can be like assured, on the website, like here's all of our information, or I think that would be really, really beneficial. I know sometimes if I'm going out to a restaurant, I will, call ahead, try and like gauge what's going on with the menu. But it would be really cool, and I know especially probably for the celiac community to know, hey, we have a gluten-free fryer and a regular free fryer, and they're on opposite sides of the kitchen or something like that. So I think the more resources that restaurants can offer their consumers, the safer they will feel to come to the restaurant.
Yeah, the gluten-free one is definitely hard. My passion, I've had celiac disease since I was 8, so
Right.
that's like what I have the most knowledge about. But it's definitely interesting to hear about the other allergies as well, because even going into the restaurants, I've noticed things like pan sprays contain soy, or like you said, those dairy-free cheeses contain different like nuts or even gluten sometimes. And so like there's a lot of crossovers between allergens
Right.
that people are like unaware of.
Right, because if you move one thing, like you have to substitute it with something else. And so I think the more information you can give people, the better they'll feel about their choices.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell the allergy community or talk about your product in any way to reassure them that there are, things out there for them to eat?
Yeah. So we, like I said, we are just mostly sold online through our website, kubebalife.com. We only have our 3 protein bars right now, but we have a lot of ideas for the future. As we get things more streamlined, we hope to come out with more products. And one more, like we are actually top 14 free and made in a top 14 facility. We focus on the top 8 or top 9 because those are the most common. But we are free from the top 14 and manufactured in a 14 free facility. So we are really doing our best to make healthy, safe food for this population that is limited.
Yeah, awesome. I absolutely love that. And I'm so glad there's people like you out there that are trying to create these safe alternatives.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We were glad to share our product with you guys.
Yeah, thank you.